Holy. Oh, man. That's bad. That's bad. That's really bad. Oh, man. I got started a little bit late tonight. I was supposed to be on at, like, 5 PM, and I got into it today, man. I got into it big time, bro. Um, and that took a little bit of my time, but we're back. So, you know, what's going on, fellas? We only got 2 people on right now. I figured this would happen because basically, we had so much shit in the last week or 2 go down in our state. So that's essentially why I did not do the show. So like I skipped 2 weeks in a row, and it was basically because of everything that was happening in Minnesota. I was like, dude, I'm not doing a show because I can't risk talking about all this shit that's been happening, because then all of a sudden we get too political, things happen, and it has nothing to do with fishing. So I want to stay away from that. I I talk a little bit more about that kind of stuff on my personal account, but I won't do it on my fishing pages anymore because it's just not good for business. So we're just not going to do that. But basically, man, smallmouth and largemouth, when it comes to the two, I always have to choose. I do. Like, I don't think that it's one of those. I think it's an either or question, right? Smallmouth or largemouth. And for me, it's always got to be smallmouth. And I'll tell you guys why. Because for me, I love offshore fishing. I love fishing deeper water. I really like using that scope. Like, if there's anything that I did last year that got me into this, and I'll tell anybody on this thread or anybody that watches this, you got to get live scope, dude. The 34 though, you can't use the 32. So I used the 32 all the way up until this year. I used the 32 basically until, like, damn it, like June or something, like early June, or like it was something like that. And I remember what happened. I was out on Gull Lake. I dropped the fucking trolling motor down, and it pinched my cable, like it scissor jacked my live scope cable. I'm looking at my screen, and all of a sudden it just goes boom, it goes blue. And I just look back at my wife, and I literally, and this is with the 32 too. I mean, I literally feel lost without it, but I'm sitting here, and I dropped down to my fucking knees, and I turned around and looked back at my wife, and she was like, "What did you do?" And I told her, I was like, I just ruined my life. I fucking ruined my life. And so she immediately could tell that the situation was kind of serious for me. And she goes, "Well, you need to get a new one. You can get one today." So I actually pulled off the water, got me a new 34, and we were back to business. But basically, guys, what happened was, after that, got the 34, and I got to see what I was missing. Like, I thought for sure that I wasn't really missing out on much because I could see fish on the 32. You can see them coming through and everything like that. But I just figured, like, I'll go through, and I'll go through with the 32. I can see them. I don't need to see how they react and all that shit. But basically, guys, what it is the 34 gives you everything. And I think that I underestimated how important it is to see how those fish are actually behaving before you actually catch them, or before you decide that they're not going to bite or whatever. I think I underestimated the importance of it, because typically, dude, what I'll say to this is, when you can see their movements like you can on the 34, and even if you dial it in even better to where you can see it clear as day, you have a serious advantage when it comes to, like, bait selection, weight selections, because you can see how that fish reacts from point A to point B. And one of my things is with both largemouth and smallmouth, before I had scope 34, I would say that I thought that smallmouth senses altogether in their eyesight was so much better than a largemouth bass's. And I actually thought that smallmouth really, really, I always thought that they were a heck of a lot smarter for some reason too. And I've come to find out this much, that I think that they're both about the same. I think both these fish, they're exactly the same at like the end of the day. They both live in fresh water. They both they both have, if they live in the same lake, they're surviving in the same environment. I think that these fish adapt to the environment that they're in, and they become like essentially like Michael Jordans of their environments. Because I have watched this on scope where I throw on like I throw on a largemouth bass, and as soon as the bait hits the water, even if he's in 22 feet, he reacts to it. Like he can feel the bait coming down to him. These fish are so in tune with their environment. It's unbelievable. And scope will tell you that. Scope conveys that for you. And the 34 really conveys that for you. You can really just see their movements and everything like that. So um I think that that's important. I think that you're missing out big time in I mean big time in the worst way ever. You're missing out when we're talking about that. So guys, get the 34 deucer, like, for sure. Now, fishing fishing for largemouth is fun, but one of the biggest things with smallmouth is, A, you get better at scope by the day with that thing. Our largemouth up in this state, like, I'm starting to see more of this where I'll find cruisers and roamers around certain, like, very target specific areas. I'll find them cruising around and I'll be able to catch roamers, but with smallmouth, they're the ultimate roamer. Like, they've been doing this forever, and I love hunting them down, like, on the scope, looking for them and all that. But, one of my biggest things with chasing roamers down, I think it just makes you become way more aware as a fisherman of different really small details of these fish. What puts them out off the spot? What makes them roam around? Is it the bait? Is it this? Is it that? You never know. For me, I think that for me, that's part of the fun of it, is getting off those edges and being able to find them, and then trying to pattern that. When you pattern, if you can pattern roaming fish, that is a enormous advantage, especially if you're a tournament fisherman. It's huge. I think that guys underestimate how much of an advantage that is compared to, and I mean up north. All right, the guys down south have already figured this out, and obviously, the bank became a big thing down south now because everybody's chasing the roamers offshore. But in our state's a little bit different. And so we chase these roamers. When we can find roamers in this state, like, there's a good chance you'll have them to yourself. And I think that this is becoming a little bit more popular with more Minnesota bass anglers. But I'd say for the most part, man, a lot of us don't do this. If you can pattern that up here and you're a tournament fisherman, that changes the game for you. And it can definitely give you more opportunity for success. And it puts you on fish that other people just aren't on. Throughout the years of fishing, I think that I had this thing in my head that, like, oh, smallmouth are so much smarter than largemouth. I would venture to guess that they're dumber than largemouth. I would venture to guess that they act more on impulse and what they don't like versus a largemouth. Largemouth are extremely smart. And I can prove this to you guys because I don't know how many schools of smallmouth I've pulled up to where it's like I catch 3, 4 of them and the whole school shuts down. And I can't tell you how many schools of smallmouth I've pulled up to where I catch a lot of them because I can see them down there. I just sit there and whack them one after another after another. When I pull up to largemouth, a lot of times what I find with them is they get educated faster. Like, I feel like when I throw the minnow bait on them, for example, yeah. So I throw the minnow bait on them. They tune up to that minnow so fast, dude. It's like I can see 30, 40 fish down there. I throw my minnow on them, and it's like 2 will bite it. And then after that, not one bites it. I got to like do some sneaky shit with it. I got to throw it, let it hit bottom, and let it just sit there, maybe flick it a couple times, and then I get bit. With smallmouth, it's like I'll catch way more. I'll catch way more fish in this. Like, they don't pick up on it as fast. And so that's the biggest key with the smallmouth, is that I think that they just don't get educated as fast as the largemouth do. And typically there's more of them, But that would be my biggest thing. And then bed fishing, right? Smallmouth are absolutely stupid on beds. I've met very stubborn smallmouth that get on beds, but it's always because they've been caught a ton. That's literally that's literally the only thing that I've seen really affect the smallmouth bass bite. It or the smallmouth bed bite, right? Is when they get overwhelmingly pressured. Once they start getting overwhelmingly pressured, man, you can't like once they get overwhelmingly pressured, they're really tough to get to bite. But they have a spot typically. I shouldn't be saying this. Maybe we'll yeah, I'll say it. So typically with smallmouth, they got a spot, and I think it's where they actually lay the eggs. So you got your big bed, but they'll have one spot on there that's like the size of a baseball that they just can't stand the bait touching it, and they can't stand the bait getting even over the top of it, or they just turn around and they attack like on impulse, right? That's that's big. Now, oh, now if I take like a largemouth and do the same thing to it, and I know it's never even been messed with, dude, I've seen this before where I've gone into a bay, I get back there and I see like the day before there's not a fish on this bed. It's there, but there's not a bass on it. Then I come back the next day and all of a sudden there's a largemouth on it. So I know he hasn't been there for very long. As a matter of fact, he even could have been there the day before. I just couldn't see him very well. I think that largemouth are harder to see on beds too, especially in that brackish water, because they don't have like that bronze color on them. But anyways, so I get back into this bay, largemouth is sitting on it. Dude, I could not. It took me a really, really long time to get this thing to bite. Like he had just gotten there within the day, within 24 hours, he had gotten there, and I couldn't get this thing to fucking bite, dude. Like it took a really long time. And it took like 4 different baits, and finally I got him to chew. Finally, I got him to chew. That just goes to show you. Now, for example, on opening day last year on Mille Lacs, me and my buddy Brandon we were finding betters. Like we found a decent amount of betters chilling. And Brandon wanted to catch one of them. I'm not shitting you guys. My boat was literally over the top. Like he dropped, and it was like dude, he was using a 3/8 ounce hair jig, drops that bait right below the boat, whacks it. Like it wasn't even there for more than a second and a half. Like he literally dropped it into the middle of the bed and that fish just bit and he picked it up and he said, I got him. And that just goes to show for me anyways. And I can bring up, I know those are only 2 examples. Yeah. Yeah. But I could give you 10,000 more examples of the same scenario where the same exact thing happens over and over again. So I do think that I discredited largemouth for being intelligent for a really long time, and they did not deserve that. I'm so sorry, largemouth. I'm so sorry for you guys. But yeah, man, when it comes to the both, I think that smallmouth fishing as well makes me I think it makes me more aware of everything around me because they get on literally everything. Like they're really hard to pattern. And I think that that's another thing that I really like about them. To me, largemouth, it's not really hard to pattern them. Like I can find them, and I'm speaking exclusively about Minnesota. I can find them pretty easily. It's getting them the bite after that. Smallmouth, I have a hard time sometimes even finding them. Like I can go into an area where I seen hundreds of them and come back the next day and I see literally 0 fish. That happens sometimes. So, man, one of the things with being able to stay on that bite consistently is being on the water a lot, being around them a lot. And I just again, man, I think that I become a way better angler. I become a way better angler when I target smallmouth. And honestly, when I go smallmouth fishing a ton throughout the week, especially if it's on a really shitty bite, one thing that I do notice is that when I go out largemouth fishing, it's almost like a sunfish trip or something, It's almost like pan fishing because I go out, it just seems so much easier. The fish are where they're supposed to be. They're actually biting. They're not like lost somewhere clear across the lake or like in a straight up different location or different cover. a lot of times they're on the same spot. Their travel distance isn't as far. And so, when it comes to it, when it comes down to it, man, I would way rather, I think I would way rather smallmouth fish. I could not ever just abandon them. That's why I haven't just moved down south. I hate Minnesota. Um, I just, well, given what's happening, right? But no, I do not like this place. I like the lakes. I love smallmouth fishing, and that should tell you guys how much I like smallmouth fishing because I absolutely hate this place. I hate the taxes. I hate a lot of things about it. And I would love to not be here, but I don't even like this weather. Like this weather sucks, bro. Come on. -14 today. Who the fuck enjoys -14? Seriously. Terrible weather. So I just don't I don't like being up here. And if I was down south, I could largemouth fish all the time. Now, I did tell myself, I told my wife this, that I do want to get a house down south, but we are not doing it until I can figure out how I can own a house up here and own a house down there, be able to guide down there in the wintertime or late fall, winter, and then come back up here in the springtime and be able to chase my pets around the pond. I think Mille Lacs is here to stay. Like, I don't see, this is the thing and anybody feel free to chime in, but yeah, anybody feel free to chime in if you think otherwise on this. But like where I'm at with this is that I see the year class of fish in there. I caught a lot of males out there that were big this last year. And I caught a lot of females that were big, but I caught a lot of in-betweeners too. Yeah, we did get on those super schools where they were like fucking all 5s and 6s and they were big fish, but I seen a lot of fish that were in that 3 to 4 pound range in the springtime. I kind of didn't see them as much in the fall time. In the fall time, it was honestly harder to find those fish. I caught like all bigs in the fall time. It was weird. But when we're talking when we're talking the right year class, I'm talking about those 2, 3, and early 4 pounders that like those 4 pounders that are probably like 3.5s on a bad day. I'm talking about those fish specifically. There is a enormous population of those fish. And like I was thinking about this the other day, and I contribute a lot of the size to the bait that's in the system. And I'm specifically talking about the bait fish, the perch, even the small walleye, even like they're eating those small walleye. There's so many. If you guys have been out there ice fishing, you guys know there are tons of little walleye out there. Those smallmouth do not give a shit about those things. They will eat them. But between the forage out there, between the year classes out there, I just don't see the size and the trophy availability digressing much in the next few years. And even if we did have a problem with the bait in the lake, and I'm referring to the bait fish, even if we're referring to that, they have the rusty crawdads to fall back on. Yeah, it's not as protein enriched, but we even 8 years ago when they primarily fed on that, we still had a good fishery. I don't know if you guys remember that, but like that was back in the day when 20 pounds was a good bag and 25 was like you did the deal that day. You did the thing. And I hope it doesn't go back to that, but honestly, it made my life easier because now all my clients think that like a good day is 30 pounds and like a bad day is 24. And we kind of ruined that for them, like by posting all these 28 to 30 pound bags. We kind of ruined that for the clients. But anyways, when I have to choose, if you guys make me choose, I'm choosing smallmouth bass all day over largemouth fishing. Not to say I don't like flipping, not to say I don't like going largemouth fishing a little bit, because I do, but I love smallmouth fishing and I would way rather do that. Now, tournament fishing. I gotta address a couple things about tournament fishing. I think I've brought this up in my other podcasts or my other shows, right? That I'm kind of over it. Like I'm over the spectating part of it. I have been watching a little bit of MLF because there ain't shit else to do, really. I watched a little bit of MLF the other day, which was kind of interesting. I forget where they even were though. I know Drew Gill won. Lake Gunnersville, that's where they were. Dude, that was a fun tournament to watch, man. That was pretty good. And actually, there was a decent amount of bass caught. I don't know. Mark Daniels took 8th, Wesley Strader took 7th, and Zach Burge, who I've been following Zach a little bit. I actually follow him on Instagram. Dude, that dude's a hammer. Like I think he's won an MPFL event too. He's won some MLS stuff. That dude's a freaking hammer. Wheeler got 3rd. Jacob Walker, who I don't know who that is, got 2nd. But Drew Gill, man, congratulations. That's huge. That's huge, man. That's a big win. 28 bass caught, 82 pounds, 4 ounces. Now, I would love to look at the weights on this. I'm not big. Well, I shouldn't say. I used to not be big on the whole catch everything, count everything. But I did that one tournament on Mille last year for Thursday night. And dude, I'll tell you guys something right now. That there's nothing that's funner than that. That is so much fun. I really would want to try. Like, if anybody's out there that wants to pay my way for the Champs Tour, I know that's a big ask. Fuck, it's a big ask. But hey, if you want to do it, I'd be down. Like, I want to fish the Champs Tour. I really do. I think it'd be fun. I know that I'd get my teeth kicked in. There's a lot of really good fishermen on that tour, but I think it'd be fun, man. Like, I honestly can't explain to you guys if you've never done it before. I can't explain to you how much added pressure it is after every single fish, after every single view of the leaderboard and all that stuff. That's like really fun, man. So I think that at some point I want to try out for that Champs Tour. Like, I want to fish one of the qualifying events and see how I do. And maybe one day we get on that deal and we go fish it. I don't know. It would be a lot of fun. It's really expensive, but as far as I know, from doing the math, the payouts are really good. And the schedule, dude. Like, I think that even the Minnesota Bass Team Trail, that schedule looks so fun. Mille is on it. Like, I feel like I got to do it. But number one, it's hard to find a partner that can lock into those dates or doesn't have an issue with like one of 75,000 variables that we got to deal with, whether it's time conflictions, scheduling conflictions, you know, all that stuff. Costs, expenses, entry fees, uh, figuring out the ROI. Is there even one? Now, I did somewhat of like a breakdown, a financial breakdown of what the ROI looks like on the Minnesota Team Trail. And God, I don't really think there is one. I'll be honest with you. I think that you would have to win like at least one event in cash checks in all of them in order to like get ahead at all. And that's just getting ahead and not losing your ass with travel and gas and entry fees. I think that you become profitable, but again, you would have to win one. You wouldn't have to win the boat, but you would have to win an event. I think that the event would pay out enough, and I think that you would get close enough. Now, I would say this much. The Minnesota Bass Team Trail schedule. Sorry. I'm putting this in just so I can be positive. So I think it's Lahamadou, Mille, and the championship is to be determined. Oh, bro, it's trying to bring me up like the state tournaments and stuff like that. I don't want that. All right, we're going to try that. Come on. Don't give me some stupid fucking. Bro, come on. This is like giving me. This is stupid. Yeah, it's just telling me how this is formatted. I don't need that. Like, why are you doing this to me, Perplexity? I wonder if Gemini does anything different. What do you guys use for your for your AI search engines? Do you just use Google AI or just like Google? You're wasting your time. That's stupid. Don't stop doing that. Use Perplexity. Use Google Gemini or use ChatGPT. It's a little off topic. Anyway, so the MMBN thing, it looks really appealing. Again, the ROI, the payouts, and all that stuff. I just don't know, man. I don't know. I got to think about that. I don't think it's worth it. Like I think that you'd have to again, you have to win one, do all that. The Champs Tour, on the other hand, now that looks really appealing because the payouts are really good. Um, and being that it's catch everything, I think that that really evens the playing field out for every angler. So, yeah, I would be up against a lot, man. There's a lot of good fishermen in there, and I would love to see how I would do. So, tournament fishing, I think that there's a side of it that's starting to fade out. That there are a lot of people that start to realize a lot of the nuances of it and realize how hard it is. And for the guys that are out there trying to gain careers, one of the things that I notice with these guys is that as they go down their career, they really start to double down on social media because when we're talking about making a living, right? When we're talking about making a living, it's a whole nother deal to go out and tournament fish versus if mommy and daddy make a ton of money and they say, hey, little Caden, go out and chase your dreams. Here's all the money that you need. Here's dad's American Express. Go out there, get after it. That competitor is way different than the guy that's got a crabby wife at home that hates bass fishing, 3 kids, one of them's wearing diapers, one of them sucks at school, and that dude's trying to go out and provide a living for a family at home. These are 2 completely different people, right? I don't think that any of us would disagree. Now, the guys that are my age that are on tour that already have their careers very much established, that's different. For a guy that's my age that's trying to get into the tour, right? Like, I don't want to name any names. That's fucked up. So, guys that are my age or even older than me, because I know that there's a lot of guys that are older than me that are still trying to get on the Elite Series. And even for these guys, they got to make a choice. They got to make a choice, especially and if they're making a living inside of the industry, they got to make a choice. Do I want to spend that 70K to go through the opens and try to get in? And 70K is, by the way, is on the low end, you guys. Like I would say more like 100. But would they want to spend that 70K or just make 70K and put it in the bank account and make family happy, right? It's just 2 completely different things. And what's happening is let's look at I'll do this next time. We're gonna do this next time, I promise. So, uh, let's look at age demographics that are entering the opens right now. Let's look at how many of the anglers that are qualifying for the elites. How many of them are kids? How many of them are between the ages of let's just say 18 to 24, 22? I watched a podcast with Fighter the other day, and he made up a really good point, and I noticed this at a young age too, because when I started doing this was a few years ago. I was in my 20s, and I remember this, and I remember thinking the exact same thing as him, is that guys back in the day, they would reach their prime in their, like, early 40s. Like, that's when they would kinda hit their stride is, like, their late 30s, early 40s. That's where I'm at. And then all of a sudden, this phenomenon happens called live scope, and all of a sudden you got these kids that are fucking good. And they're not just good, they're better than the existing talent that's been there for decades, right? That's crazy to me. And of course, it's just my luck. I literally am 39, bro. I literally turned 39 on January 9th. That was not very long ago. Not very long ago. I just turned 39. And I'm worse than I was. Well, maybe not worse, but I truly feel that I caught them better maybe not better, but it does feel like I caught them better before live scope back in 2017, 2018, maybe even 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. I caught them better. And what's crazy is that back then I was even too self-conscious to guide. Like I didn't even want to risk guiding back then because I thought that I wasn't good enough. Fast forward to now, it was like I remember when the live scope 32 came out, right? Live scope 32 came out and it was still like one of them, it was still like dogma or stigma or whatever, where like some guys had it, some guys didn't. You were a pussy if you used it. You were, you know what I mean? Oh, I just use 360, man. That's good enough. I was one of those guys. I just like 360. I just throw out the big boulder and call her a day. And honestly, that worked for a while until you get on the boat with someone that's got scope and then you see how much better they're catching them and then you got to go get it. Well, I was one of those guys. I denied it. And then finally I got the 32. The only reason why I never upgraded to the 34 is because I just was broke. I was a broke, not going to say it, but I was broke. And so when that happens, when you're broke, you just use what you got. So it wasn't from stubbornness. It wasn't from me just like being the old Randy Blockett guy and not wanting to do it. I literally wanted it. Anyways, as all this is happening, I remember when I first started using scope, I would shut it off. I would turn it off. I'd be done with that shit. Like, I'm not using this. Fuck that. Why? Because I just hit that learning wall with it, right? Where it just got really, really hard for me to be proficient with it. And I did not like struggling with it. Actually, the first day that I used it, I damn near launched myself off the boat because it was pretty windy that day and cold. I was turning my boat. I put my trolling motor like this. I go to the left, and I just ate a giant weight coming in because I wasn't paying attention. My head was literally down, just looking at the screen. I wasn't paying attention. My brain was overstimulated, and I accidentally ate a big one because of it. So, before, what would happen is that I would get frustrated with scope and I would shut it off and I would just start freestyling. I would just start fishing without it, making bomb casts, and I would start catching them again. That's what's crazy. And then I got better with it. It took some time, but I did see my skills digress when I initially got it. And I think that that's where you've seen all the frustrations with all the older guys in the Elite Series and MLF that's where the frustration comes from, is because they're just used to getting good at something so fast, or they're used to being dialed in. Then all of a sudden they get this piece of equipment and they feel like they're lost, but they're good at fishing and they know it. That's kind of where I was. I was decent. I wasn't really good at it, but I was decent enough at fishing and know that I can catch them. And then all of a sudden I can't when I get this device that's supposed to be the shit. So, yeah, that's kind of a long-winded rant. I don't even know where I was going with that, but basically, live scope changes the game, but it digressed me for a little while. And then all of a sudden it kind of got me on an even keel. Now, as far as hitting your stride goes, I should be hitting my stride right now. I still like, now this is my perspective on scope. Anybody tell me, comment down below if I'm wrong on this. So the way I see it with live scope is this: before live scope, it was really hard to find the fish. But if you found them, you could get them to chew. It almost didn't even matter what bait you had. You just had to be around them. And if you didn't catch any out of the school, throw fucking anything in there. Boom, you're whacking them. You didn't have to recycle or rotate your baits as much. Like, you didn't have to get into this crazy rotation of stuff, because you could literally sit there and just catch them with the same football jig over and over and over again. It seemed like it anyways. Yeah, you could recycle, you could rotate, you could get in a good bait rotation and catch a few more based on the rotation, but it didn't seem like it was as crucial. Now, let's take it right now. Now with scope, it's like, dude, these schools are being found more frequently, right? And so, like, even if I find a school of 50 on some offshore spot, if someone goes and they hit that shit before I get there, and I don't know it, right? I'm going to start throwing at these fish. Their behavior is going to be really weird, and I'm going to think the school's off. But my point of where I'm going with this is that that's the proof, right? Is that these fish just inherently get harder to catch because they're easier to find. You can find them so much easier, dude, which makes them harder to catch. So now the argument is this. I think it's way easier to find them. I think it's way harder to catch them. Before, it was way harder to find them, way easier to catch them. And that's where I think that me adapting to that scenario, I didn't really look at it like this a few years ago. I literally just started seeing it this way like 2 years ago or a year ago. And I think that once you adopt that mindset, I think it gets a little bit easier to understand. I think that it gets a little bit easier to digest and execute your game plan out there. So I got to check something quick. I know it's kind of rude. Usually no phones on the live stream, dude. No phones on the live stream, but I gotta see this. Crazy. Oh man. Dude, I've had a night tonight. Anyways, so that's where I'm at with that. I think that if we can adapt to that logic or that mindset, I think that it makes it a lot easier. So if you're over 40 or you're having problems with scope, take that advice and run with it. Just use it more. So backtracking a little bit, back in the day when I first had it on the 32 and I get frustrated, I literally shut that piece of shit off and I would just my head would be up and I start winging a jerk bait everywhere in a high percentage area, right? And all of a sudden start getting bites and feel like the man and be like, fuck that scope. I don't need that thing. And honestly, too, I don't know why I keep saying that, but honestly, pre-spawn, bro. Pre-spawn. Let's talk about pre-spawn. Dude, even last year, I don't even really use scope that much. Like, and that's a mistake on my part. I'm going to change that. This next year, I'm telling you guys what, I'm going to get like out of my buddies, I'd say probably, I don't know who would be the best scoper out of all of them. I don't have a ton of buddies, but I got a few. I don't know who the best scoper would be. It's a toss up between a few of them because a few of them are really good, but I want to get in the boat with someone that's really good at scoping and they can take me around and show me how to scope shallower fish. Scoping fish in like 12 to 22 feet, any Yahoo can do, even 30 feet, any Yahoo can do. It's scoping in that really shallow water. I got to get in the boat with someone. One's in the chats if you want to take me out. Like, I want to get in the boat with someone that scopes 10 feet and under, 12 feet and under. I want to use perspective mode more or like landscape mode more for fishing in 12 feet and under. And I got to get better at that. So maybe that's something that I do. I got to get that Sonar Pros mount or whatever type, Fish Obsessed. Is that what it's called? Where it turns and everything. It's got a really cool turning mechanism on it. That's my next mount that I'm going to get. That way I can use that sucker. And get better at it. But pre-spawn, back in the day, even post-spawn, I would get almost all the way to like mid-June, and I would have never even turned it on because I get on these flats with the hair jig, jerk bait, spy bait, get on the high percentage areas that I think the fish are going to be living at and just wing that sucker across everything that I can find and crack that ass. I would dread going into midsummer to fall because I knew that I would have to scope. That's what I was going to be doing 24/7. So when I started the season off in the spring, that would be my favorite time because it would be head up, popper, swim bait, jerk bait, and like a tube, and I would just go to work on like a really juicy area. And I think that's fun. Even a chatterwagon crankbait, I would do it all in the springtime. And now I'm probably going to be pulling out that pussified minnow and chucking that fucking thing around. Which I don't hate it. Like this year I really started to fall in love with minnow fishing, dude. That was fun. Minnow fishing's like, It's fun, man. I got addicted to that shit. I had some really good times out on the pond, and dude, the amount of fish that ate 7-inch baits was fucking insane, dude. Insane. Like 7-inch baits. I was using that white 7-inch Sakamata shad, and if I had a different color, like I need to get a more neutral color. That white really only works good in like super great conditions. Um, Dude, if I had a different color, who knows how many bites I would have got. I only have one pack of the 7-inchers, and I'm being very like conservative on them. So I don't want to I didn't want to go through a ton of them. So I literally got away with using one 7-inch Sakamata shad the entire year because I didn't throw it a ton. But when I did throw it, I would mend the shit out of that thing just to put it back together. So I only used one. But I think I need to order like 2 bags of some new shit. So, oh my gosh, bro. I think that when it comes to minnow baits, I caught so many on the 6 and 7-inch baits last year that this next year I'm going to be throwing some gliders around, dude. And actually, hold on a second. What? I almost forgot. Guys, I'm not a glide bait fisherman. Give me 1 second. Where did I put that other one at? So check this out. I just got these from one of my sponsors, Cinch or Sink glide baits. Now, this one's the Artisan Gill 130. I'm not a big glide bait fisherman. I think I'm going to whack some smallmouth on this thing, though. Like, pretty sure. So here's the case, right? We're just going to take it. Look at this. Pull it back. Look at that. That's some cool shit right there. So you get a bitchin' little case. Sink fishing. And guys, the detail on this is badass. Like I said, I'm not a big glide bait fisherman, but this year, I think I'm going to throw a few around if I can get this fucker out of the box. Apparently, the hooks are sticky. Bro, come on. Do I need pliers right now? Really? Bro, these hooks are... There we go. You say these hooks are so good that you got to use them to get them out of the damn package. This is stupid. And I don't know what kind of hooks they use. I'm pretty sure they use pretty high-end hooks, though. I should have done like a deep research project on this thing before I showed you guys. Like I said, though, I'm not a big glide bait fisherman. Look at that thing. That thing pretty cool. It's not bad. Like I said, I'm not a big glide bait fisherman. I have not seen it in the water yet in person, but I've seen tons of different videos. A lot of our pro staff guys have been using these. If you guys want to check these things out and like get a more in-depth look at these things, check out Bindi Vang's channel. I know Bindi's got a ton of these things and they work really well. So again, check that thing out. Actually, I got to show you guys something too. So that was the one, I believe this one was the 130. Isn't that what I just said? Shit, son. I'm pretty sure it was the 130. Yes, Artisan Gill 130. All right, check out his little cousin. Check out his little cute cousin, dude. Boom. Look at that one. That pretty badass? I think that's cool. Should I do the gay little thing like this so you guys can see? There you go. Whoop. You guys like that? Here. I'll do it with this one too. Do the whole little... Oh, look at that. Wait. Look at that. Yeah, bro. That's what's up. I think that this is cool. I think that these are pretty cool glide baits, but I got this little guy that I'm going to use for both largemouth and smallmouth. Now, this is supposed to be like a bluegill pattern, or like I believe it is. It says Artisan Gill on it, but kind of looks like a damn little mini peacock bass, right? I think that's going to be a largemouth killer in the springtime, even post spawn. And even this 130, This 130 is not that big. Like, I don't have I'm not like a fucking Norwegian dude. I don't have enormous hands. I'm Asian, so I got smaller hands. So this is not a gigantic bait by any means. It's pretty small. But I like the action on it, and we'll see it. We'll see it in person on the water. But I've talked to my boy Bindi. He says they're pretty good. He says they're pretty good, man. So, and I believe if you guys want me to, we'll check out the price on them because I think that they're priced right. I had it out. Yeah, they're not bad. So, guys, I really like this pattern, dude. I should show you guys, like, they got some cool ones, dude. Shell cracker looks badass. So, guys, this bait right here, this is the Artisan Gill. Now, it looks like I got 2 sizes that they don't even have out anymore. Wait, what was that one? Oh, they do have the 130. This one's just new. I don't even think this one's for sale. Sorry. That sucks. But I wonder if I can do this. You guys see that? Uh-oh. I don't have any inappropriates on the chest, do I? You guys see that? Probably not. It's probably a terrible look. I'll try and turn it just a little bit more. Wait, let's go like this. Look at that thing, dude. That thing looks really cool. Not only this color right here. This is a weird stream. Look at that, dude. Does that not look badass? Come on. Come on. I think that that's like one of the cooler colors, to be honest with you. Now, again, I'm not much of a glide bait fisherman, but I had to show you guys these. I think these are the shit right here. So pricing looks like it's between 69.99 and 79.99, dude, which I think is a pretty comparable price. The 130s are 70. Looks like the 90s are 69.99. Not that bad. But if you guys look at the detail, and then the dude, I'm sorry for talking about this and being so undereducated on this. I don't like talking about things that I'm undereducated on. I really don't. But I don't want to read the product description because I think that's cringe. I will bring you guys way more detail about this because the guy, I forget the guy's name, but I know his last name. I'm pretty sure is Garfield, which I thought was pretty cool that his last name's Garfield. If you are under 32 or 35, you might not know who Garfield is. He's a big orange cat that eats lasagna. And he's a really cool cat. Actually, he's also, Garfield is in elementary school, and I went to that elementary school. Anyways, though, Garfield was a cat. And yeah, man. I think the guy's last name is Garfield. I'm fairly certain. I'm not positive, but nonetheless, new little glide bait company that I'm working with that pretty excited about. And yeah, hopefully if you're ever in my boat, you're on the pond and you want to chuck one of these little guys around and see if we can get bit on them, I'm totally game. It's got a little, I believe it's got a little rattle in it too. I don't know, man. I thought that this was just really cool bait. And then actually, I'll show you guys one more that wrecked them that I actually threw. How did this turn into a bait showing show? I didn't even have that in the description. I don't even, honestly, guys, I forgot what the show was even about. Like after 15 minutes, I forgot what I even put in the description. I planned on doing this at 5 o'clock. I'm so sorry that I kind of ran into some problems. I ran into a mini debate online, and then I ran into a long ass phone call that came out of nowhere. So I just wasn't ready for this. It just, yeah, today was a little bit long. Now, this one, I don't even know if you guys can get this. This is a 110, and this is a Glida. It's a glider. All right. Now this one, I absolutely cracked that ass with this thing last year. And actually, it got bit better than a jerkbait did. My buddy Connor Summers gave this to me for like he just gave it to me. I was over at his house and I think he had like 4 of them hanging up on his wall. And I pulled it off the wall and I said, I like this. And he said, do you want it? You can have it. And so I took it. And I wasn't going to throw it. And then this year I took it out and just cracked that ass. I think Biovex makes this. But look at all the joints in it. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I mean? So yeah, this thing got brutalized this spring. I thought it was pretty cool, pretty fun to watch, honestly. There was one cast that I took. Now, here's the thing. If anybody on here that's watching has the optimal glide bait setup, actually, I got the rod covered. So if anybody has the ultimate glide bait reel, I'm debating on getting like Alexa 2 or 300. I'm willing to take suggestions though. Drop them in the comments below if you want to give me a suggestion. But that's kind of what I was thinking. Now, what would be really cool on this bait is you get a lot of this has a shit ton of draw power. And I'm assuming any big bait, like walking style bait that they can kind of follow and get behind, those have draw power. All of them do. So like, I'm assuming that this guy's going to have a ton of it. And this one did. Last year, I seen 2 of they were big uns, dude. Like they were double 6s. One of them easily could have been a 7 because one was just slightly bigger than the other one. Dude, they were trailing this thing. One of them swiped at it and I felt it. Like I felt it. He hit the tail of this thing. He must have hit it with the hard tissue of his face, like up on his nose area, because he hit it and I felt it in the rod. My line went slack and I watched the bait in the water. I watched the bait just kick out to the side. He hit it that hard. He just missed it. Oh, I cried so hard, man. I cried so hard. And that's the worst part about walking baits or like jerk bait style baits is that they have draw power. The fish will follow them, whether they're going to eat them or not. Not genuinely. Typically what's going to happen is if they get hot on it, they're probably going to bite it. And when they get in that following chasing mode, you don't want to just like stop the bait. It's arguably better to get even faster and harder on it and just start ripping it. That's to me what I've seen work a little bit better. I like it when you get on that thing and rip it. Now, last but not least, we got kind of a weird one, but it does serve its purpose. And I'm going to use this thing quite a bit because it reminds me of a popping frog. So what it is it's a weedless walking bait, dude. Check out this thing. Okay, so I'm not going to lie to you guys. All right, I probably shouldn't say this, but when my first impression of this was not the greatest until I pulled it out of the box and I actually checked it out. And I've seen it in my bathtub. I've tied it to some line and kind of did some twitches on it. See how she rocked a little bit, dude. These things are actually fairly badass. Like, so what it is it's a soft walking bait, a weedless walking bait, if you will. I can tell you what, American Baitworks, you do like, it's like you package this stuff so that I can never get it open, like ever. I didn't want to take this one out of the box because it's literally the coolest one that I have. And I'm kind of weird like that. I wasn't even going to use this year. Check that out, guys. What's cool about it is that it has good action, but look at this. So it's like made out of a frog material, you know, this hard silicone type material. And it's actually just like a frog. So it's weedless. So I can throw this thing in dollar pads and stuff like that. And it just has a different action than a frog. It's going to walk. So we'll see. Guys, we'll see how this works. JT Kinney, if you guys want to see like an actual video of this bait getting thrown around, JT Kinney's got a pretty good video out right now that he's throwing this thing around and catching them with it. So I thought it was pretty cool. And I'm just look, man, I'm not going to lie. I'm like one of those guys that when I see something that sucks, like I'm usually pretty quick to say that sucks. Or I just don't like that. That's gay. No offense. I halfway believe that. This packaging, dude. Between both these boxes, this packaging's kicking my ass. Anyways, though. Okay, so exciting stuff. I'm gonna bring this up right now just so that you guys know. One thing that's gonna happen next year that's gonna be a little bit different, and I hope that we get a good response to this. But what we're doing this year is we have decided to bring on a walleye guide, and he fishes smallmouth too. It's my buddy Nick Recca. He's been guiding. Why am I just sucking at talking today? He might have been guiding longer than me, maybe. But if he has maybe a year longer than me, I think I'm going on year 5 or maybe 6 this next year. I can't remember. I'll look at my calendar. I don't count the first year. So yeah, it maybe would be 6 this next year. But I don't really count the first year because I didn't charge that much. I was practically doing it I was kind of just doing it for free damn near. But my buddy Nick Recca is going to jump on with me. The reason why, guys, is because this packaging can just suck. Look at this. I'm losing. What am I doing wrong? I can do it afterwards, but oh, I see what's going on. The shit moved on me. Anyways, though. So I'm bringing on my buddy Nick Recca. I've fished with Nick absolutely 0 times, but I fished against Nick in tournaments several times. He's took a little bit of my money. I honestly owe him an ass whooping on Gull because him and Mark cleaned our clock one year on Gull Lake. It was an October tournament. So, guys, I'm bringing on my buddy Nick Recca from I forget what I think his guide service is like This Guy Guides or something like that, or The Fish Guide or something. But it's like GYD. I'll throw a link up at some point. But anyways, I'm going to bring him on, and he's going to help me run trips out on Mille, which is pretty cool. He'll be on my website. I'll feature him on my website. I'm going to feature him in my Facebook post, and you guys will be seeing videos of him on YouTube because I'm going to help him film content for his guide service too. And another thing that's going to happen that's kind of fun is I am going to be going out and filming some spearing videos coming up very soon and doing some ice fishing content. I will say this. I'm not going to be ice fishing. It's not going to be me. Why? Because I hate ice fishing. I don't even want to go do it. But I figured that this is a good time. Like, I want to do content right now, but you guys don't give a shit about bass fishing content right now. The people that follow my channel, that follow it really closely, and I think that's probably like 200, maybe 400 people follow my channel pretty closely. You guys have been watching my bass fishing content, but the rest have not. I got to upload more trending content, and trending being that, let me put it this way. My base following for YouTube is all in Minnesota for the most part. And I get some following on a national level, but it's not big. Most of my following is based in Minnesota. With that being said, most of you guys want to see ice fishing right now because you guys are all out doing it. That's a trending topic for Minnesota. So I am going to be going out and doing a little bit of ice fishing coming up really soon. I said that before. And you know what happened before? I'll tell you guys exactly what happened before. So I get out. Oh, yeah, that's right. I already told you guys. Well, anyways, the first few times that I went out absolutely sucked, and I did not like it. I did not have fun. Like, it was kind of fun, but it wasn't. I just didn't have a good time. And then I decided I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to upload a lot of content that I've previously filmed that I have not published yet. We're going to edit some cool videos. We're going to make some good videos this winter. I'm going to post them, and everything's going to be good, and you guys are going to watch them, and you guys are going to like them, and my life's going to continue to move on just fine. And what happened was the first few videos that I posted got like no response whatsoever. And we need to change. And so we're going to just do more trending stuff. This gives my friends an opportunity. Like, I do plan on filming with my guy, Too Long Lore. He's got a guide service. My buddy Nick Redka, I'm going to film him. He's got a guide service. He's got several spear houses. He's got 2 nice, like, permanent houses, like ice castle type houses out on the lake that you can go fish on or fish out of. They offer really competitive rates. I'm going to get out on the water with them guys, or out on the ice with those guys rather. Do some film. I'm going to film their stuff for them. They can post it, but you guys will definitely be able to check that out on my YouTube channel. I'm going to film that content and put it out there for you guys. And I'm going to start with spearing. Spearing's pretty cool. I was totally against it, but since I just hate when a pike bites off an $18 bait, come on, bro, kill them things. Let's just kill them all. So stick a fork in them, literally, and they'll be done. That's kind of how I look at that. So, anyways, check that out. If you guys go to Tackle Warehouse right now and look up Sync Fishing, SYNCH Fishing. If you look that up, you guys are going to find all of our baits. And there's a few of them. This is not the only one that we have, guys. We have another one too. And this is called the Artisan Glide Bait. Sync Fishing Artisan Glide Bait. And these all, like, dude, these look so badass. The trout bait looks probably the dopest, but they all have extreme, like, a ton of detail in them. Just, you can't tell because obviously the resolution's shitty. We're doing a live stream right now, so it's not going to be the greatest. Strongly suggest you guys go on and check those out if you guys are glide bait fishermen. Anyways, I'm going to roll. I apologize about all the bullshit. I should have been on the last 2 Sundays. We didn't get it done. We had a lot going on. And honestly, again, like, I can tell you guys exactly why we didn't do the show. We didn't do the show because of all the stuff that's been going down in Minnesota. We didn't want to bring it up in the show. I didn't want to talk about it. I knew that I would bring it up because it's something that just I don't like. And I would have started talking about it. And then today I was going to log on again. And then another dude, like someone else, gets shot. I don't want to talk about that kind of stuff when it comes to doing the fishing content. That has no place for it. So I decided to take a break and just not even be tempted, because if I got on 2 weeks ago, guys, I would have brought it up and then it would have, like, ruined things for me a little bit. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to turn this into some like media channel or whatever, like political channel. That's not what this is. This is all about fishing. So sometimes we might get into the weeds just a little bit and, like, drift off and talk some shit about what's going on, but we're never going to get, like, crazy in depth about anything. That's not what this channel is about. So anyways, boys, I apologize about the waits. I apologize about making you guys wait for the show. Thank you guys for watching. And until next time, boys, we'll see you guys soon.